Hey guys, VaulSC here. Hope that you are doing really well. So, if you haven't noticed, round 5 has started for the Infinity Tabletop Simulator League. We are nearly at the end of the road. For many of you, this will be the final round, but I do want to remind everybody that if you're participating in the tournament division, the actual main competition of this league, and you make it to the top 10 on the rankings after you've played 5 games, there will be a bonus 6th round where we'll play off the top 10, and those guys will have a chance to potentially win a prize, and of course, hopefully crowning a champion. And the winner should be a lot clearer after 6 rounds rather than 5, because we've got well over 100 people making it through the event and finishing all of their games, so that leaves us with too many people who are undefeated otherwise, which is exactly why we're going to be doing a round 6. So as usual, I'll be releasing the round 6 map halfway through the week. It will go back to the Oblique Assault mission, and hopefully we'll be able to stream some of those top level games, which will be quite exciting. As for everybody else, please get through your rounds if you can. I've noticed that fewer people finished their rounds after round 4. I know that the previous round map was very challenging. Thanks for bearing with me on that one. Some people really liked it, by the way. I played on it several times. I found it pretty good. I think the key really with that map was making sure that you follow people's tips about how to navigate it and check things. Anyway, the main thing that I want to communicate in this video is that now that we're in round 5, you don't really have a 1 week time limit anymore to complete the game. It's more like 2 weeks, because we're going to play out this weekly round 5, and then we'll be waiting for the round 6 players to finish at the top 10 of the tournament. And during that time, you're welcome to finish off your round 5 game or catch up on some of the games that you've missed. If we just whip over to the tournament tab over here, as you can see, there are a few people nearer the lower rankings who haven't actually completed round 4 yet, and I've still given them a round 5 opponent simply based on the rankings anyway. So it's not the fairest way to match people up, but it doesn't really matter that much, because we're talking about the bottom half of the rankings. These guys will not reach the top 10 after round 5, and at least they can see who their opponent is, even if their round 4 opponent isn't really catching up. But the important thing is this: when round 6 comes along, I'll be looking at which people on the rankings haven't actually completed 5 games, and I'll be trying to match up a few more people to get their rounds completed. So if you skipped around at some point, there is a possibility of catching up in that final round 6, and you and your opponent can determine whether you want to play the round 6 map that's normally just reserved for the top 10, or if you want to go back and replay that match that you missed, whether it was rounds 2, 3, or 4, or whatever it may have been. So that's that. In casual, yep, we've still got a few people who haven't completed rounds as well. We have more people who have dropped out. That is quite alright. With the casual division, I'm even surprised that so many people have got through 4 rounds, because this was supposed to be the casual division for people that, weren't even sure that they could commit to a game a week. But despite that, most people have been able to do exactly that. So realistically, there should have probably been a bigger tournament field, to be honest, and just a smaller casual field. But look, that's perfectly fine. As of posting this video, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon for me on a Saturday. I'm going to be playing my final match against Radic in about 8 hours time. Radic from the UK. I did lose my last game against Assault Unicorn. I thought he played pretty well. I also had some really bad luck, and I made some mistakes which I could have fixed, so that's on me mostly. There's a small chance of me winning the casual event, but only if Assault Unicorn loses and I get a major victory. That's the only way it can happen. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Radic's obviously playing well, so I have to get through him. I might not even be able to win that game at all, but we'll find out later today. Other than that, the casual league has been a lot of fun. Hope you guys have been enjoying it as much as I have enjoyed running it and playing in it. Code 1 almost ready to wrap up. We actually have some pretty clear matches to determine it right at the top of the tables. Most people have been playing games and enjoying themselves and completing things. We've had a few people not really managed to see the league through from Code 1. That's okay. People can come and go as far as that one's concerned. Over here, we still have the 3D workshop going. We're going to be doing a little bit of a competition next week where I will set aside like a note card somewhere on the table, and I'll put like one model from everybody's collections, well, from the main contributors, that is, and you'll be asked to basically vote on them once I come up with the form for feedback. So next week there will be a separate feedback form for you guys to have your say about your feedback on the maps and the missions, which will be really important to me because in future events I'll hopefully be able to improve on my custom mission designs and my map design, so you'll have a great opportunity to assist me with that. But then there'll be a separate kind of feedback form where you'll vote for which player you enjoyed playing with the most during this league, and also who contributed the best 3D miniature stuff in your opinion, which is also going to be really, really cool because it gives us a chance to acknowledge and in some ways reward the people who have been working so hard on this collection. So do look out for that. I might just quickly say a couple of things about Tempo War. Tempo War is a mission that used to be called Tactical Window. Corvus Belli, as you know, used that term for their format, so I've changed the name of this. The objectives have been highlighted with these little glowing lights, the blue and green. Please don't forget that the objectives that you're going for is determined by player turn, right? So let's say it's the start of the game, I'm red and you're blue, and you choose, so you win the roll-off with your blue dice, and you decide to pick deployment, and you've taken the red table side over there. Let's say that happens, and I'm given this side. If I then choose first turn, I'll need to collect the blue consoles. But if I chose to take second turn, I'd be the one collecting the green consoles. So if you think that some of the consoles are easier to get than others, choosing tableside is not what's going to allow you to go for the consoles that you want necessarily. It's the turn order that determines that. Please don't forget that. Remember, the map gets divided up into quadrants, so you can turn the grid on at the end of every player turn, but please have the grid off while you're playing. What you've got to basically do is have more points in the quadrants than your opponent, but that's checked at the end of every game turn, like every player turn, just not the very first turn of the game or the very last turn of the game. So you can't just rush onto there from turn one, and neither can you move in the last game round and just sweep in for the prize. I've also rewritten this mission a little bit so that some of the middle turns are worth more points. There is a liaison officer now, so I quite like taking a infiltrator or something like that for deployment to liaison officer, since that'll help to protect the zones and provide a point later. Note that these forests here count as jungle terrain, so it's a -3 to hit unless you've got MSV, and it's a saturation zone, so -1 burst. If you zoom in really closely, this little leafy texture pattern on the ground is what determines where the forest begins and ends. So if your model is touching that leafy area, then you're in the forest. If it's not touching it, then you're not in the forest. This map is a little bit of a more claustrophobic map. It's a bit more dense. I've shut off a lot of the long fire lanes. That's something I was planning on doing right from the start, because I wanted people to play on a variety of maps. You have definitely had the chance to play on some maps with really long fire lanes everywhere. This one doesn't have so many, unless you maneuver around a bit more. Like if you come around to this part of the map here, you've got the long diagonals, okay? But it's not exactly like determined by deployment zone versus deployment zone sniping, if you know what I mean. So I think that'll make for some really interesting games, and we'll go for something even more different in the round 6 map, most likely. Great, well, I'm looking forward to playing on it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of your results. Keep asking the questions if you've got them. Been having a blast this league. We're getting towards the end of it, and I'm going to start talking about my plans for a campaign-style event after this. Probably go for 3 rounds where you'll be sorted into factions, and you'll be playing for your favorite faction, but more on that later. Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.